We're now on 13, and it's only a short psalm. It's 6 verses long. And it starts off with the psalm saying, "Have you forgotten me?" Well, we've all known that feeling, that we feel forgotten by God, don't we? I felt forgotten by God, especially when I know I've done things wrong. I've tried to hide from God 1,000 times in my life. In His grace, He keeps pulling me back. And although it feels as if God is no longer listening to him, how long shall I take counsel in my heart, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long shall my enemies be exalted against me? And so here's a psalm who feels the presence of his enemies. The enemies change, of course. In those days, it was war. It was tribes fighting against each other, kingdoms fighting against each other. Not necessarily large kingdoms for their day, but kings fighting against other. When the big kingdoms like Assyria and Egypt came into the presence, then that they knew what war was about. Today we have different enemies. I am told, and I believe it to be true, that pornography is one of the big enemies against both Christian leaders and students in our colleges. Isn't that a shame? You've got to get away from those enemies. Those enemies will not do you any good at all. And of course there are other enemies. Enemies of wealth, enemies of pride, enemies of position, enemies of insecurity. But this is how he finishes the psalm, and this is the verse for today. "But I trusted in thy mercy. My heart, that was then troubled, shall rejoice in your salvation." Then he says this, "I will sing unto the Lord because he hath dealt bountifully with me." Do you like singing joyfully? You may not be a great singer. A lot of us are better singers than we realise. But you can put on a tape. I put on a tape this morning and found myself singing half a dozen songs before coming downstairs. One of my problems is that if I put on a tape of singing and I become part of it, I sometimes forget my time. My wife will tell you that she has seen me putting one sock on, and when she come up again, I'm still singing and I've forgotten to put the other sock on. I just get carried away. Do you sing unto the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with you? Now, I'm not thinking of the salvation that is referred to. I'm thinking of the sanctification throughout your life, what God is doing in your life to make you a better person, a kinder person, a loving person, a tender person, a person who is generous, a person who opens their house to the Lord's work in one form or another, a courteous person, a person who write the note. Today, my wife and I, because my father-in-law has passed away, nearly 101, a lady wanted to bring us a lovely bunch of flowers. Oh, what a joy! What a joy! Have you dealt bountifully with me? And if you've seen the way God has been working in your lives since you accepted Christ in salvation, so the Lord is your salvation, is also the one who works to work bountifully with you. I want to work bountifully with my friend in these works we're doing together. We're in this partnership together. It's a joint venture to deal bountifully with each other. You see, we can deal bountifully, can't we? Because of God being bountiful with us. If you say, how can I know that God is bountifully working as well as in salvation to me? Go to my favourite chapter of the Bible, Romans chapter 5, and write it out by hand all the way through. There's only 21 verses. And as you do it, do them verse by verse with a space in between. And in the space in between, later, in a different colour ink, just put down some of the things you've learned from that verse, and you will see that God has dealt bountifully with you, and that's a reason for singing. Have a joyful heart today. This is the Psalm 13, 6 verses, Moyni's Bible.